Oh, outlet with Kei-Touch. I'm so excited to be with the Blacks in Technology leaders. I'm starting with Greg Greenlee, Blacks in Technology founder, and Dennis Schultz, Blacks in Tech Foundation Executive Director. You don't have it on your title, but I know what you do, Dennis. I know what you do. He does it all. Guys, welcome back to the Outlet with Kei-Touch.
Is Greg frozen? It looks like Greg might be frozen.
Greg, are you there? Greg is frozen, ain't he? That's all.
Oh no.
Greg. Okay. Can you text them real quick?
Yeah, let me see if I can hit him real quick. In the meantime, let me see.
Gosh.
Yeah, hey, glad to be back here.
Yes.
Back at it again.
Yes. So, Greg, we're going to start with a brief overview of Blacks in Technology, how it all came about. So tell us what you were experiencing and why did you decide to start Blacks in Technology, blacksinTechnology.net?
Yeah, for sure. So, early in my technology career, I was going to a lot of conferences, a lot of tech conferences, with some friends of mine that I met up with at meetups and things like that. And I was just experiencing just a lack of representation of Black people at these conferences. And for me, it was more about, we're in this at this conference, in this atmosphere where there's a lot of knowledge being handed out. There is a lot of great speakers, there's a lot of networking opportunities to be had, and there's very few of us here. So it never started out. I always say, like, shaking the proverbial fist at the man. Like, how come, you know how that, I don't know if you remember Do the Right Thing, but like, how come there ain't no Black people on the wall, Saw? Like, it wasn't that moment for me. It was more or less, where are we and how come we're not taking advantage of some of these opportunities at some of these tech conferences? And the ones I was going to at the time, they were free. Are very, very low cost. So I wanted to build a community among Black people in tech where we could just help one another, support one another, bring awareness to some of these events that were happening so that we all meet up at these events and say, hey, what's up? And have that camaraderie that I was seeing a lot of these other participants were having. So that morphed into, starting the Blacks in Technology website. It was more of an online community site at the time. And then that morphed into having chapters. People wanted more in-person engagements. And then that led to starting the Blacks in Technology Foundation, which is the other arm of Blacks in Technology. That's our membership services side. And that was in 2017 when I founded that. 2018, we had our first conference. Followed that up in 2019. Dennis came on board as the executive director in 2020, and we've been, on a rocket ever since. Like, as far as our membership numbers, we're over 30,000. We've got over 80 chapters in over 20 plus countries. And when I say we're in 20 plus countries, we're like literally like countries like you wouldn't even expect. New Zealand. I think there's a chapter in Italy, Australia. We're in the UK. We're in Canada. Several chapters in the motherland. It's just, we're out Brazil. We're all over. So I give a lot of credit to, Dennis, because he's been hard at work since 2020, just like making things happen. And I couldn't ask for a better person representing BIT, and I couldn't ask for a better partner.
Oh, and send you a check in the mail, bro.
That is just amazing. And how many members do you have in Blacks in Technology now?
So Greg mentioned 30,000. I think at last count we were just under by 500 or so, just under 35,000. So, we're growing pretty rapidly. When I first came on board in 2020, I think we were, somewhere around 6,000, the combined chapter number that we had. So we've had pretty significant growth in the past couple of years.
Yes, that is so cool. And Dennis, what led you to join and become leadership in Blacks in Technology?
Well, I'll give you the abridged version because, it's funny. I lived in New Jersey, working in New York City, Manhattan area. And I had a boss / friend, who would tell me that I needed to play the game more. By that, he meant I needed to network and be more social. I was an individual contributor as a sales rep for, big tech company. And I was like, okay, as long as I do my thing, I'm making my money. I don't really need to interact with anybody else. I don't need to go golfing or, have drinks after work. And he was like, you kind of do. And I was like, well, he's like, just join an organization and, and get yourself out there because you never know where your network can take you. And I was like, okay, well, let me find a Black organization. So I literally Googled Blacks in Technology. First thing that came up was FIT. And it so happened that I was looking at a time when the first conference, or second conference actually, second conference was going to be happening, and it was in Minneapolis. And at the time I was like, okay, well, if there's going to be other Black techies there, and there were, I was like, that's probably where I want to be. So I ended up reaching out to one of the coordinators, and I was like, can you tell me a little bit more about it? And told her a little bit about what I do, on the, corporate side and then my side hustles. And they were like, well, if you want to come, if maybe you want to speak. So I ended up actually speaking at the conference and attending. It was amazing. So I got back to New York and I was like, I would love to connect with the other BIT members in New York. And I asked Greg, I was like, so, what's up with the New York City chapter? He was like, we don't have a New York City chapter. And I was like, what do you mean you don't have a New York City chapter? It's New York. So we ended up, kind of corresponding through email. And I was like, well, if you ever need to, stand something up in New York, let me know. I'm willing to help out if I can. And, a couple of weeks passed and he hits me up. He's like, you know what, if you really want to do it, he gave me the license to do it. So I took that and ran with it. Brought the New York City chapter up to, over 1,000 members, during the time I was there. Then I ended up having to move for work to Northern Virginia. And when I moved, it was kind of bittersweet. I had to kind of hand off the reins to the New York City chapter to someone else. But I stayed with the organization. I was brought on as part of the executive board. So I was a board member before Greg tapped me to be executive director. And here we are.
Look at you. That's amazing, though. And the passion to get the information out to people who look like us is imperative. And I'm just glad that you guys have done that. So, Greg, what do you do in tech? What do you do? What's your field of work?
Yeah, so I'm a senior, what they call a senior DevOps engineer. And essentially what that is so if you think about, all your applications that are out on the web, let's just take Gmail, for instance. It runs, like the application runs on a bunch of different servers that Google owns, right? Google has their own, what they consider the cloud, which is just a bunch of computers running that has like a bunch of storage and CPU processing power, memory, and all that stuff. And they're able to divide that up to give people access to build their own servers and things like that and within their cloud. So what I do is I utilize code to be able to build out infrastructure in an automated fashion. So I'm kind of like that bridge between developers who actually write the application, so like who write things like Gmail, and the infrastructure that is needed for that application to run on and be like fault tolerant, like never go down, always be up, responsive, that thing. So we have to coordinate really closely with the development team, and that's where that whole term DevOps, like DevOps comes from, development and operations, and kind of like the merging of that. So now that they have things like the cloud that is out there, like I can use code to manipulate that to build the infrastructure that I need. So that's essentially what I do on my day to day. I write code and it goes out and builds infrastructure for applications to run on.
Wow, that's interesting. What about you, Dennis? What do you do?
Well, my job isn't as technical, but I do a little bit of a lot, as I like to say. I'm a customer success manager, or in Microsoft terms, a customer success account manager to be specific. I'm responsible for showing the value of Microsoft to large customers. So what we do is basically babysit our customers, and I mean that in the best sense of the word, because I handhold them through projects. I make sure that if they've purchased something, they know how to use it. If there are any problems with the product, that we work to get quick resolutions. And as long as the customer is happy, then I'm doing my job properly. So that's more or less my role. But I've always been in customer-facing roles throughout my tenure in tech. It's been either sales or consulting or business development. This is just an extension of what I do.
I love it. I love it. Again, it's the Outlet with Kei-Touch, with the leadership from Blacks in Tech, blacksintechnology.net. Greg Greenlee, the founder, Dennis Schultz, so many things, the executive director of the Blacks in Technology Foundation. Just really happy to be here with you guys. So tell me, what kind of information do you put on blacksintechnology.net? Why should people join? I mean, it's free to join, and we love that word free to join, but what information is available on blacksintechnology.net?
So I'll start this off, because I want people to understand that there's two arms of Blacks in Technology. There's a side that handles a lot of the media content, the jobs boards, which is blacksintechnology.net, and the Blacks in Technology Foundation is our membership. That's our nonprofit side that handles membership, membership services and resources, mentorship, and that's blacksintechnology.org. So I'll speak to the blacksintechnology.net side. So one of the key things that I always wanted to focus on is our stories and controlling our own narrative, and not leaving it up to whoever to tell those stories or to tell those narratives. Because a lot of times, like these different establishments and outlets are nefarious in the way that they do it. So I wanted to not only put our spin on it, but also keep it positive, and keep people wanting to continue to look at technology as a career, or starting a business in technology. So blacksintechnology.net. So we do podcasts, we write articles, we do videos as well. I mean, we've had a number of different series where we talk to members about the non-technical aspect of their lives. So, you have the professional, the technical side of it. And it's like, okay, well, I want people to see us in a light, especially people from our own community, so they can know, like, for instance, with me, I used to do music. So if I did one of the series, I'm like, yeah, I'm heavily into hip hop. I used to do music. I got bars for days, and it's okay. Like, that's my non-technical interests and hobbies. And so like we try to show people in our community from all different aspects, from being that professional, that practitioner, and that engineer, to, you know, whatever else that they're interested in, because I don't ever want people to get pigeonholed and thinking, oh, if I'm an engineer, I got to look like this, or I got to dress like this, or I have to talk like this. I think it's important that they see that, like, hey, like, he likes, you know, music and hip hop the same way I do. He likes sports the same way I like it, or he likes, or she likes gardening, or crafts and things like that. So that's what you're going to go. If you go to blacksintechnology.net, you're going to see articles. You're going to written about us, by us. You're going to see podcasts highlighting our stories. And then you're going to have, like, you know, the things that like the jobs board, where you can go and you can, you know, look to see who's hiring or what company is interested in hiring diverse qualified candidates, as well as, you know, being able to upload your resume as well. So I'll turn the foundation piece over to Dennis. Let him speak on that.
Yeah. And as Greg mentioned, two distinct organizations under the same umbrella. But the foundation, the nonprofit, is blacksintechnology.org. And we basically provide content related to everything career development, primarily, and events. So for members, when they join, you know, we have a newsletter that goes out that updates people on what's happening, you know, in the world of tech, that has, you know, anything remotely related to Black agenda. So, you know, one of those things that I didn't know if there was going to be consistent enough content for to do long term, but every week there's something that comes up that is definitely aimed at us from a diversity perspective, which is nice. The other thing that we provide is hard skills training and tools. So if somebody wanted to transition into tech, wanted to upskill themselves in their career, or figure out, you know, how to, you know, differentiate themselves and build their personal brand, we provide certification for a number of different specializations. We either get discounts or, you know, fully, you know, funded grants to provide certifications for our members. There's other soft skills programs that we have for resume review, interview prep, their apprenticeship programs, their mentorship programs. You know, if it happens to do with your career and technology, chances are you can find some resource within our organization to leverage it. And then there's the networking component with our events. Every chapter has the authority and the autonomy to create their own local and regional events. And there's something going on somewhere in the world almost every day. You know, so if you want to, you know, get involved as a volunteer, as a member, like Greg said, it's free to join. You can just attend events and get free stuff. But if you want to give back, there's opportunities to do that too. And we try to provide a platform for people to showcase their expertise, you know, provide a stage for them to, like I said, build that personal brand.
And I like what you just said. For those who want to transition into IT, Blacks in Technology is for you. So blacksintechnology.org, blacksintechnology.net. And it's free to join, so there's no excuse. Let's talk about the impact on tech moving forward, like for the next generation, and the availability to really change generational wealth without even going to college, getting certifications that are discounted and sometimes fully funded on blacksintechnology.org, correct?
Correct. Absolutely. And I mean, for us, the way we look at it is you have to start somewhere. And I have a lot of people in my friends and family circle who are either unemployed, unhappy with their job, underemployed, you know, trying to figure out what they want to do with the rest of their lives, that kind of thing. And I'm always like, if you dedicate yourself 4 to 6 months into one of these, certifications, people will hire you, if you know what you need to know in order to do the work. Right now, there are over 1 million open requisitions for technical job roles right now. There's been a lot of headlines recently about companies that are laying off, but there's more people hiring than there are laying off, and there's not enough computer science degrees in order to fill those roles. So it's a unique period in time right now for folks, because you can apply yourself with no college degree necessary, with the practitioner level skills that you can learn from a couple of well-placed certifications, and go from making, $30,000, $40,000 a year to starting out at $60,000, $70,000 a year and moving into a six-figure income within 1 or 2 years. So it's real. And I'm trying to tell people, I'm trying to advocate for the tech industry. A lot of it people think is, a lot of math, or it's hard, you got to be a programmer. There's so many jobs out there that don't require you to be super technical in order to be successful. And if you're doing hard work right now in your job, chances are what you're doing in medical or in retail or in food service or, in social work, you can apply that to tech and double your income, guaranteed. So the question was, and I didn't forget the question, as far as what I see about the future, I think right now the opportunity is to position yourself and your family for generational wealth by one, making sure that you don't become obsolete, in terms of what AI is going to be doing, for jobs in the next couple of years, because AI is going to take a lot of people's jobs away, and they're thinking, oh, no, it's not going to happen. It actually is going to happen. So if your job can be automated, it will be. You got to have a plan B. So think about that. The other thing is investing in tech organizations and in startup companies. So right now, and I'll kind of yield back, but there's an opportunity to invest as a non-accredited investor in equity crowdfunding. So what that basically means is that before, you would hear about Twitters and Amazons when they go public after all the institutional investors that put their money in. So by the time you get in, they already made their money. You might make a little bit, but they're making the big money. So in order to make the big money, you have to get in on the ground floor of some of these organizations. And now they've removed that. Well, Obama administration actually removed it, but it's becoming more popular where you can invest into a company as part of a crowdfunding campaign for equity, for a stake in that company. So as far as generational wealth goes, investing is a great way to build wealth in tech outside of having that, additional income that comes with, a strong actual role in tech. All right.
And that was great.
We got you back. We got you back, Greg. Welcome back.
Yes, we have Greg. He's back with us. In and out. But we have you. Again, we're talking about technology here. Look, we are here with Greg Greenlee, founder of Blacks in Technology, and Dennis Schultz, executive director of Blacks in Technology Foundation. And that's great what you said, Dennis, about getting in on the ground floor to invest. And you're right, because when you're on the ground floor, first, you're not paying what everyone is paying per share. You're paying a cheaper price. And by the time everyone else gets in, you've already made some money when it starts catching on. So that is great advice for us to start investing in tech, even if you do not decide to work in tech. So you should still go to blacksintechnology.org and blacksintechnology.net. Greg, how did the conferences come about? How did they come about? Blacks in Technology conferences, BitCon 2024 coming up. But how did those come about?
Yeah, so when Blacks in Technology had was in its infancy, like I always had an idea about what I wanted a tech conference to look like if I ever was fortunate enough to organize one. And I actually had an entire document written Like, hey, like these are the types of talks I want to have. This is kind of like the atmosphere that I want to have. Like I had a whole bunch of stuff laid out. But because I had never put on like anything that big, like it was just an idea. And so one of our chapter leaders at the time, she was the chapter leader of the Twin Cities chapter in Minneapolis, St. Paul. She approached me with the idea of having a conference in that area. That chapter in particular had a lot of connections and partnerships with companies local to the Minneapolis, St. Paul area. So like there are a bunch of Fortune 500 companies up in that region. So Best Buy, like Target, Medtronics, General Mills, like there's quite a few of them in that Midwestern area, right? And so they had been doing events, they had been, had partnerships, and she essentially just sold me on it. Like, hey, we already have these partnerships. They're willing right now to come in and take care of food and venue. And at that time, I was just like, well, I'm sold. Like that's that's the biggest cost when it comes to a conference, anyhow. And if they're willing to sponsor that, shout out to Best Buy and Target, because that's where we had our two of our venues were there. That's like the biggest cost. So I was just like, yeah, let's do it. And so that happened, I think, late 2017, right after Bit Foundation had formed. So that was timely. And then we essentially started getting into kind of planning mode. I brought on one of the chapter leaders. She was out of San Diego chapter to help with it. And then we had a couple other people, but the majority of the first two conferences was organized by me, a woman by the name of Elizabeth Cotton, and our communications director, who's still with us. His name is Marcus Davis. Like us three, when you go back and you look at all the marketing material, you look at all the speakers, like we had to vet every single talk. We booked all the travel, which I don't recommend anyone ever doing. All the travel, all the hotel, all the speaker fees, like we coordinated everything. And I mean, and that's how it came about. And we put on a fantastic conference, and you wouldn't be able to tell from the outside looking in. It was just like mainly three people driving that entire thing. Now, that's not to discount the volunteers that we had that helped out with the conference. I'm just talking about the organization piece of the entire thing. It was three people, and we worked our butts off that whole time. Very little sleep during the first two conferences. And yeah, that's how it came about.
Yeah. And real quick, Greg, it was very impressive, and I wouldn't be able to tell if you didn't say that it was only three people that put it on, because it was really impressive enough for me to be like, yo, I got to do this when I get back home. I mean, the CEO of Best Buy came out. They had Senator Amy Klobuchar, U.S. senators coming through. I'm like, this is.
We had Nipsey Hussle before he passed.
Nipsey came.
Oh my goodness!
On stage, yeah, like it was. Look, conferences alone, it was a dope conference. Yeah. But the fact that it was like 2-3 people driving that, it's almost unbelievable when I think about it now, because I'm just like, I don't even know how I did it right at that time. But yeah, we did it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Absolutely amazing. The first conference was that live? The first?
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. All right, let's get into BitCon 2024. Look, I had so much fun at BitCon 2023 in Nashville, Tennessee. I was so glad that rhymed, because I started off with my live broadcast from my lives. I was like, yeah, we're live for BitCon 2023, Nashville, Tennessee. But look, it was just so amazing to see so many Black people and the ages. It was so many young Black people that were serious about their futures, invested to attend this conference. They came from all over to be there, and the sponsors were even more impressive. I mean, off the top of my head, I remember Microsoft, I remember MetLife, I remember Cash App, I remember Assurian, I remember Google. Do I remember Disney? I think I remember Disney being there. Was
Disney was
there?
2022.
Two.
Yeah.
Two. Okay. But I mean, just off the top of my head, those are amazing sponsors. And I was like, wow. And they were hiring. They were hiring. Yes, not just sponsored. They were hiring. That
At
was
the conference, not interviewing and telling people they'll get back to them later. They were hiring
No.
people at the conference. That was the impressive part for me.
That was so cool, and just the energy, the environment. So let's get into 2024 Atlanta, GA. What's going down? Dennis, start us off.
Yeah. Let me jump in because this is my favorite topic and has been since January or so. But I'm super excited for Atlanta. Atlanta is our second largest chapter. I think there's over 2,200 BIP members in the Atlantic chapter. So even if nobody comes in from any other city, Atlanta BitCon alone should be lit. First of all, off the top. But in addition to that, we do expect to have, folks come in, like you said, from all over. I mean, we have folks travel from Africa for the conference, from, Canada and the West Coast last year. I think this year we expect to see even more of, in the progression of what the conference has become. It's 2 days of content, but we're going to have the whole week of Labor Day packed with events. So the conference itself is from the 4th through the 6th of September. That's a Wednesday through Friday. But the first day, I don't really count because it's kind of a travel day. It's a check-in day. We're going to have, networking event in the late afternoon on that Wednesday and, probably some type of after party. Right now, we're working to see if we get Cascade, which is the skating ring, buy that out and bring everybody there and, really do Atlanta the way we should do Atlanta, roll bounce style. So I'm looking forward to that. On Thursday is going to be a full day of content. We're going to have speakers from all over. We're going to have a big focus on AI this year. Obviously, that's a hot topic technically. So from things like, how you leverage AI for your job to how you create your own chat GPT to, how you, manage and monitor and secure, AI in your environment, how that is going to be implemented for major corporations, individuals who work in IT for their roles. So a lot of talk around that. Another big piece of the conference is going to be the career development piece. So like you mentioned, folks are hiring. Taco Bell is already talking about how they want to position themselves for hiring. And Hartford is another company that is sponsoring this year. They're trying to figure out how they want to hire. So looking really forward to, positioning those companies for success and pairing them with some members who, hopefully get prepped in advance to the point where they can walk away with a job at the conference, which will be amazing. So Thursday and Friday is going to be that. We will have an event on Monday, which is Labor Day for the city of Atlanta, more or less for the kids. It's going to be a STEM-focused event. We're going to have, drone training and contests. We're going to have Lego Spike Kits where you can program the robotics and Legos, so we're working with Lego on that. It's going to be at Westside Park in Atlanta, which is one of the newest, most beautiful parks in Atlanta. And we're hopefully going to have the radio station B103 come out. We're talking to them currently about how they can participate. And we'd love to have a live broadcast. But even if we don't, we're still going to have a DJ. There'll be some electric slides or Cupid shuffles or what have you, and some food. There's going to be positioned as the Atlanta Street Food Festival, sponsored by Blacks in Technology. So we're going to have food trucks, food vendors, merchants. It's going to be a good time. So that's going to be Labor Day. on Tuesday before the conference, we're going to have field trips. So we're talking to companies now where we can go and actually see some technology and process and talk to some hiring managers and some folks that might want to work for some of these companies. Currently confirmed, we have Intuit and Microsoft and Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So that'll be fun for people who want to actually go out and see these companies in person. And then on Friday evening, when we close the conference, we're going to have a benefit concert. So right now it's between two major artists that we're, trying to, figure out basically who's going to give us the best deal. And not to be too blunt, but, talent booking is expensive. And the talent that we want is not cheap. So we're looking at either Rick Ross or T.I. I should know within the next couple of weeks. But that's where and that'll be fun. That's going to be at Tabernacle, which is, a really nice Live Nation venue in downtown Atlanta. And then on Saturday, there's more. We're going to have a fundraising black tie gala. So this black tie gala is going to be at the Porsche Experience Center. We're going to allow people before the event starts, before they step on the red carpet, to jump in the car with the professional driver and take a test track ride around, come back, do the silent auction, get fed a 3-course meal, get sung to by some R&B singer, whoever we can get for the best rate. We're still looking. And we'll award someone. Right now, we've narrowed down a couple of folks that we want to receive, some awards from us for their work in tech. Both sponsors and individuals. So that'll be fun. And that's the place where you're gonna want to be seen. Getty Images is gonna be out. We're gonna have to step and repeat. It's going to be that kind of vibe. So, wear your jewelry, wear your tux. Black tie means black tie. Don't try to come in a dark suit. You get a tux. You will get turned away. But yeah, that's going to be fun.
Wow. That's an experience. I mean, I thought last year was incredible. Oh my goodness. And I mean, you almost said it right. The concert. I mean, this conference was the best conference, and I'm not just saying it because you guys are on here, but it was the best conference, and you just wanted to participate. You wanted to hear the subject matters that were being spoken about from these speakers. It was some incredible Black people doing amazing things and sharing their experience, and it was just so much freaking fun. I really enjoyed the bowling alley myself. That was cool. I really enjoyed that bowling alley. And I did see a lot of people there from Atlanta, including some vendors. I said, oh my goodness, is this many people in tech in Atlanta that are Black? Oh my goodness. So you're on point with that, Dennis. Wow. Yeah, 2,200 members. Wow. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I think one of the most important pieces is that we get to go to a conference and be authentic on who we are. Last year we had the urban karaoke. We had what was that? Where we dressed
Trivia.
up. It was
it was like I think it was like 80s night or something like that.
Yeah, kind of dressed. You've seen people like
Dress Your Decade. That's what it was. Dress Your Decade.
Yeah. Right. So I came with like the whole Adidas hookup and everything. Like it. And it's so like when you can do things like that and feel included, like it just adds to that experience. And that's like what Blacks in Technology is all about. Like people coming and being their authentic selves, not having a code switch, not having we just go out we're ourselves, we have fun, we enjoy each other's company. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. And you can be professional and
for sure.
Too. And that's the thing, a lot of people expect you to be a certain way. And I learned early in my career that if you know your stuff, you can dress any old kind of way. Because I used to see guys come in with a hat and ponytails and cut off shorts and a AC/DC t-shirt, and they be the smartest ones in the room. Nobody bat an eye, So I'm like, if they can do it, I can do it.
I can, yep.
So our swag is a little bit different, but I think the first thing is know your craft. And if you know your craft, then you can be authentic self at work. And, obviously depending on your role, if I'm going to visit a corporate customer, I'm not wearing a t-shirt, but at the same time, most of the work that I do is at home. I wear basketball shorts and a t-shirt. That's my uniform these days. So, I think, being my authentic self is something I can do within the Blacks in Technology community. I had a boss ask me, we want you to bring 100% of yourself to work. And I looked at him and I said, you get about 90. It's like, you probably don't want the 100%. so
It
yeah.
might be too much.
Yeah.
Yes. So what message do you have to young Blacks in the Atlanta area or even around the country, around the world, about the importance of this conference, especially if they want to work in tech or advance in their jobs in tech?
Yeah, I'll start off. I think the important thing that I want to relay is something that I've been speaking on for years, and this is a tech conference. Yeah, we're featuring Black speakers, but we are not. I don't consider our conference a DEI conference. We're a tech conference that highlights and focuses on Black people in tech. So we're gonna give you our expertise. You're gonna learn something coming to this conference. You're gonna learn something either that can help you in your career, your job currently, or help you have better chances of obtaining a job. You're going to walk away with knowledge about, maybe about how to start your own tech company. Maybe there's some entrepreneurship talks that are going to resonate with you. No matter what it is, like there's going to be something there for you to learn and take away. And that's always been the focus. I think the other important thing is that something that I talked about last year on stage is technology is for you. Like, you belong here. And, just by virtue of our conference, you're going to see that, right? So if you had any doubts before of whether or not, technology is an industry that you can thrive in, or if it's for you, and like this conference is going to solidify that, yes, you all belong. Right. So those are like the two main things I want young people or anyone in general coming to our conference to understand when they come.
And the only thing I'll echo from that, Greg, is their support. So not only do you belong, but there are people that are willing to help you, if you ask for it. And our community, our members, one of the options on the intake form is, are you willing to volunteer? And over 75% of the people who sign up to be BIT members say they're willing to volunteer, which is amazing to me. So you got people who are willing to share their expertise and be mentors and be coaches. Another thing that I'll say is, always be curious and be learning and grow your network. We have what I consider to be the largest employee resource group in the world, because we take all the companies that, might have one or two Black employees working on in a team or in a division or, in a group, and we can amplify their angst, their frustration, to a community where they are supported and they don't have to feel isolated. So even if you're at your company and you feel like you might be alone, or, feel like they don't get you, there's somebody out there within our community that is your tribe, and we do get you. So feel comfortable in that too.
blacksintechnology.org, blacksintechnology.org, blacksintechnology.net, blacksintechnology.net, either one of those. But you can definitely see the information for BitCon 2024, blacksintechnology.org. Are we having the Madden competition again this year? You didn't mention that.
I'm working on a couple of things right now. So
Okay.
the thing about the Madden competition last year, it was crazy. It was actually in 2022, we had a Madden God competition with Shibata Mix. So if anybody out there wants to Google Shibata Mix on his YouTube, it's crazy. He's playing like, Madden against Michael Vick and some other players and, talking trash. He is amazing in what he does, but he's also an advocate for the technology behind the video game industry and advocating for jobs in it. So we want to do something where we tie in, some bit of what we like. So whether it be Madden or 2K or, some first person shooter, but also, tied into, what that could potentially be from a career perspective. This year, I'm looking to change it up a little bit. So I've got feelers out to a few celebrities. I want to do a celebrity tournament. So where basically we have some celebrities playing against each other, and then they ultimately play Shibata for the title. And that'll be a lot of fun. I got 2. I need at least 6 celebrities in order to really kind of make it work. So if you know somebody out there who is a Madden trash talking type of celebrity, let me know. Even if they're not good, it will be good just to use their name and likeness to promote the conference. So.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I'm working on something.
That is amazing. Look, gentlemen, this was just amazing. I'm just so excited about BitCon 2024. Dennis, I will be hitting you up. This is so cool. And I mean, I'm not just saying this conference, when they say you can be who you are, you can be who you are. And then the mentality, the energy, everyone is just excited to be there. People will just talk to you, even if you go by yourself. I went by myself last year. I met a lot of people. I was never alone. It is just amazing. It is so amazing. I got to mix and mingle with some of the speakers, the sponsors, and they're even just happy to talk to you. They're just happy to even just engage with you. And I'm telling you from personal experience, this is something worth investing in. You're investing in your future. You're investing in your network. You can't put a price tag on that. You can't. Information is power. Any closing thoughts, gentlemen? Greg, start me off.
Closing thoughts. What we're and I'm going to talk about this at BitCon is, it's all for us. It's all about opportunities. Providing people with opportunities. I think when it comes to these companies, we're not looking for handouts. We never have. And that narrative needs to go away, because all it boils down to is providing fair opportunities. And with Blacks in Technology, we're doing that from a resource standpoint and from the community standpoint. We're providing you the opportunity to network. We're providing you the opportunity to enhance your skill. We're providing you opportunities to get hired with some of these companies. So I think, if anything, come to Blacks or BitCon 2024 for those opportunities.
Yeah, good. Well said. I guess for me, I'm going to take a look at it from the individual participant perspective of the conference and the member base. I don't know of any other conference where you can, find a frat brother who, can be stepping to Nuck If You Buck 1 minute and then talking about, the importance of generative AI the next minute, right? So we can have those conversations. We can do, more than one thing. We can multitask. We can walk and chew gum. You don't have to be a monolith. And there's people, if you don't think there's people who are out there who are like you, you just haven't looked hard enough, because there definitely are. My daughter, she's into anime and gaming, and, she was like, will I find other people out there like that? I'm like, yeah, I don't think there's any other place that you can find those types of people out there like that for you, but absolutely. So, yeah, come through. We definitely welcome any and everybody. And though, like Greg said, we are focused on, as a Black conference, it is not a diversity conference. It's a tech conference. So, you will learn something.
I love it. Thank you so much. And I can't wait to be at BitCon 2024. Hey, you need to join us there. Again, blacksintechnology.org, blacksintechnology.net. Thank you so much, guys.
All right. Thank you too.